Okay, good morning everyone. Welcome to my stock market technical analysis channel. On this channel, we cover stock trade ideas, swing trading, and really just technical analysis, reading the charts for what they're telling us, the information that they give us. So if you guys are new, follow along. I hope you learned something. Leave me a thumbs up, if you find some value in the content. Okay, so we're going to get into the general market analysis, and then we'll look at some of these short ideas, these trade ideas. Most of my trade ideas recently have been shorts over the last couple weeks because I've been looking for the downside. We're getting more follow through and confirmation that there's more downside to come, and I don't see an end in sight. So don't let the mainstream media trick you into thinking that, the buyers are, this is a great buying opportunity. I'm sure you'll see lots of stuff on CNBC talking about how it's a great buying opportunity, which at some point in time it will be, but I think there's considerable more downside to come. But we're going to get bounces along the way. And just when everything looks great as a short, that's usually when you get the counter trend bounce. Okay, so we'll start off here with the triple Qs. Again, we had a sell signal. I pointed that out just a couple days ago, but we got our sell signal really right there. Clean breakdown. You look at the hourly chart, and there's this rising wedge I've been talking about for quite some time now, and basically looking for a break to the downside of this wedge, and that should start the selling. And we saw that break really last week. We started to break. We back tested the trend line, sold off, and really just ended the week at the lows selling. So today it's no surprise that we're gapping down and selling off some more. So the sellings, this is the first leg of when everyone realizes, going back to the daily chart, this is when everyone realizes, oh, there's some selling, we're going to correct. And, this is where everyone starts to exit their positions. So I think Qs is likely to sell down to about 342.50. Before we find some sort of a bounce. We could bounce here. There is a potential level if you look at the hourly. We've undercut it just a little bit, so it's not the best level. I think this 342.50 area is likely where we're going to sell down to. So yeah, more downside. Looking at the SPY here. Oh, and just real quick on the Qs, I talked about the negative divergences that have been building for some time. And the fact that we have broken the trend line support coming off the March 2020 lows. Here it is on the daily. We've been walking up that trend line. We broke support here, and then we did this long back test, months basically of back testing. But we've rejected so far, and we're starting to sell down. So look for the selling to become more impulsive in the next, couple days. We might be done selling today, but look for the selling to increase in the next few days, I would expect, after we get probably that first little bounce that you usually get when everything becomes obvious. Obviously, we're selling down today. People start to panic when they see big down days. These are right at that moment. That's usually when they try to do a little counter trend bounce. So watch for that, but I do expect more selling to come. I don't see this being over yet. Okay, so the SPY is actually selling off more than the tech sector, more than Qs. And so you can see we're gapping down and selling pretty impulsively today. That's a pretty good size move in the SPY, almost 2% down. I'm looking for some more downside. We could bounce here. Maybe we get a little bit of a counter trend bounce up into, we now have a big gap to fill too. So obviously a bounce and to run up and fill the gap. That's your next objective shorting area, is this gap fill right up here. So you get a bounce into the gap. This is the area. They'll probably pop it a little bit, pop that gap, chop it around right up in here. This is where it's objective to short. Doesn't mean it's going to work, but this is the most objective area to actually establish a short if you haven't already done so. Now, me personally, I've talked about how, all these short trades that I've been getting into over the last little while, or last couple weeks. So I'm already short on moves like this, big down moves, and I'm actually taking some profit here and there on certain trades that are working. I do expect SPY, whether we get the bounce to fill the gap, to sell down to this trend line right here, which is about 417. That line comes off, that's a big level right on the SPY. That comes off your weekly chart, and that comes off your 2009 lows right there. So you can see there's your 2009 Great Recession lows. We held support all through here. This trend line broke in 2018, and the Fed's been propping this up ever since. That's basically how it works. It's broke, and then they pumped it up with cutting interest rates, did the back test. Here's your COVID drop. And then the Fed stepped in again, pumped it back up. Now they overshot that and recovered the trend line. But again, I think we're heading down back to that trend line. And if we break back below into this range, and this basically is a false breakout, which would be a bull trap, which to me would tell me this was likely the high of the market of this entire bull rally that you've seen since 2009. This would tell me that this is the end of the rope. The Feds, they'll try to do what they can. And obviously we have to kind of, it's like walking on eggshells with the Fed when you're trading short. You have to, they're going to come out and try to do something. So we'll just have to, wait and see. But they could let the market sell down, try to gradually let the air out of the bubble in this market. I suspect that they'll fail at that and things will kind of go wrong. But that might be what they're going to try to do. So again, we're just watching these charts, and I think we're going lower in the SPY. Whether we bounce here or not, I still think we're heading a little bit lower, and then we'll figure out what's going to happen down here. Okay, the day's not over yet, but I do want to point out some key things I'm seeing in some of these major players, such as Apple and Amazon. So we'll start off with Apple. The former highs on Apple were really about 144.50, and recently we broke above those highs right here for a couple days. But when we did that breakout, and I talked about this breakout was with negative divergence. See the momentum, how it's dropping off, how we were making lower highs than the former high. So negative divergence oftentimes has a higher probability of failing. So this breakout that happened with negative divergence is a high probability of failing, and that's what we're doing so far this morning. So you can see running higher this morning, they gap it down back below that former high. So this was a false breakout, at least as of right now. This is a bull trap, false breakout. The bulls realize, we're not going to break out. We're actually, anybody that took this breakout right here, a break above the new highs, they're underwater and they're all exiting their trade right now. So, or most likely they are. They should be, at least. So we have a bull trap. Now, this is a daily chart, so the day's not over. They could ramp it up into the close and hold it back above this 144.50 area. That's completely possible. They might even try to ramp it up and close it right on there, keeping everyone guessing. Things to watch for. But as of right now, a false breakout. Looking at Amazon, same thing. Amazon had negative divergence, and we've just recently made this new high right here. This is a breakout right there. See that big breakout candle? So that was a breakout, but it occurred with negative divergence. See, let me zoom it in here on the PPO just to show you guys if I can grab the right tool. Right there, you see the negative divergence, how we're just dropping off. So this high was on less momentum, and that had a high probability of failing, and it did. So we're back below that former high, 3,552 right there. So that, and you can see that was hit twice, twice, and we finally broke out. But if you took that breakout, you're paying for it today. So again, as of right now, this is a bull trap. We're back below that former high, selling off. So again, this is a daily chart. We have to see how the day closes, but bull trap as of right now. So keep an eye on that. And Amazon and Apple are major players in the triple Qs, and really just the major players in the market. So, if they're selling off and they have bull traps put in, then that can't be good for the market. So watch for that daily close. If we get that daily close back below this area, look for the selling to accelerate, because I would anticipate like Amazon to sell all the way down here to 2,934 on this bull trap. Okay, and here's my short list. And when you have a short list that looks like this, you're usually doing pretty good. You can see that basically it's pretty much a sea of red. Here's SeaWorld down almost 9%. Again, I talked about this trade idea. The sell signal was right there on that day. But I talked about the trade idea being a good setup well in advance. We were talking about it, all through here. I pointed these out as being divergent highs. There's your sell signal. The thing is, from that sell signal to where it's at now, it's down 10% already. So, and that's a pretty short period of time. So that's working. Now it's at support. It's filling that gap right here at 40, it's about 43. So I would expect we're going to get some sort of a bounce right here. But again, the bounce, I think, will just be an opportunity to either reshort it or add to a short, because I think the target for this one's about this 35.75 area. Maybe slightly higher. Could be right there at 37. You might want to step in just a little early, But right in there is the area that I see this going to. So down here in the 37 area. Okay, Tesla. So Tesla had a sell signal on Friday where it broke its this short-term support. So you'll see here on the daily, we've been just walking up this trend line. Our original sell signal on Tesla came right here. This was the opportunity where it really broke this trend line it's been in on the daily chart. There's your trend. We broke right here, and it back tested, but it broke again. So broken support. To me, I don't see really anything standing in the way. We obviously have the lows that we'll have to contend with right in this area. We'll probably get a little reaction. Looks like there's some support right there at the lows, which is about 555, we'll call it. But I do think this thing's likely to sell down to 464 area. Much better support right in there. You can see this is where we broke out from, and we held resistance at that level for quite some time. So I think we're heading down there. That's going to be my target in Tesla for right now. My near-term target is about this 465 zone. And that's still down there a ways. You can see that's still down there another 25% or so. So we're going to let that one do its thing. Still look like it's going lower. Toll Brothers. Toll Brothers is running into some good support this morning. So I'm covering this trade. I'm going to cover the trade. You can see right in this area, there's really good support about 50.46. So we could come down a little bit more. That is a potential to drop another 5%. So, I'm going to cover half of it at least, take some profit, because there's another level of support that I'm seeing right here, right about 52.80, which is where we're sitting at right now. Again, this trade, I took it right on the breakdown right here, but that so far it's a 15% profitable trade. So time to lock in some profit at very least, in my opinion, because there's just not, it doesn't look like there's too much more meat left on the bone. Maybe down to this 50-40 area. It's likely where I see, really good support. Now, yeah, I do have a level circled all the way down here, which we could come all the way down to 40.83. But again, as trades start to work and we start hitting some of these support levels, I lock in profit. So I'm going to start locking in some profit on this one. This one's just getting started. BlackRock, I added to this short position. More confirmation of a sell signal on this one. So on your daily chart, here's your March 2020 lows, clear uptrend line, big negative divergence that's been building with this bearish rising wedge pattern, and we broke down right there. So on Friday, we actually had the sell signal. I took a starter short. I talked about that in my video on Friday. Today I added to that short. We gapped down, and we basically gapped down. We're selling off pretty impulsively. So just looks like more selling's coming. So this one. Next level of support, I don't see till about 792, and likely a lot lower, but 792 for sure looks pretty probable, we'll say. So I like that one for more downside. Here's American Eagle, AEO, gap down. They're buying it up a little bit this morning. Technically, nothing's changed. This is still on a sell signal. I'm going to remain short. So here's your daily chart right there. And there's your sell signal on Friday. They gapped down more today. They bid it up, but this is probably all you're going to see. I don't expect them to go too much higher. They could run up into a back test around this 34.75 area, 34.50, and then fail. But we're still below the major trend, so likely heading down to about, the first level of actual support is about this 30.60. So I think we're likely going to sell down to there. Get a more sustainable bounce. We'll probably bounce there, right? So maybe we'll get a bounce and even a back test there. Who knows? But I still think we're going lower. And then ultimately, 25.97 is a pretty solid level of support as well. So watch those levels. Ally Bank gapping down this morning. Again, this one I talked about just looking like it was bear flagging. So there's your flagpole right in here. Okay, there's your flag. And then you just continue the flagpole. That's kind of how that works. So we're seeing the gap down today. It doesn't look like they're going to, it's early, so maybe they'll be able to recover this. But that's a pretty impulsive move, and it just basically trapped all the people that right in here. It trapped all those trades with the big gap down. So again, I'm still short this. I shorted this right here. There's the sell signal right there on the June 10th. So far today, even if you took it at the end of the day, you're profitable by about 12%, and it's still working. So next level support on this one, I see it right here, right about this 43.26 area as being kind of the next level of any sustainable support. So I think we're going lower on that one. Here's Abercrombie and Fitch, ANF, just more selling. Again, I don't think we're going to hit support. There is a little bit of a support shelf on this. It's right about here. Better mark it out, I guess, just so you have it. It's right in the 37.01 area. It could be slightly higher, maybe right there. 37.20. So that does look like some support. So maybe a bounce there. I still think we're heading lower down to 30.26 is pretty likely. And yeah, 30, about this 30.50 area, not really 30.26, but about 30.50, I think is a good target for that one. Boyd Gaming. So I took some profit on this one this morning. We fell gap down to support at 50.81. This is a level I've had marked out for a while. Rolling back, I think that, there's another level below and we easily could get down there, but we're at support now. So I think it's likely you're going to get some sort of a bounce. Next level is 43.67. Again, this one has fallen from the sell signal, which I have circled right here. If you took it at the end of the day, it's already down 21%. So 21% trade so far. Time to lock in some profit on that one as well. Okay, CAR, Ava's Budget Group, kind of right in between support and resistance. Right now, resistance is sitting roughly at about 72.44, and then support is about 62.60. So I think we're going lower, at least 62.60 for the next level of major support. And then likely on this one, I think the target for this one, a good target, is about 51.12. I'd probably step in a little early if you're going to cover. If you're shorting it, I'm going to step in a little early, probably step in about 52 or something like that. But still looks like this one's heading lower over the near term. I like it. No change, no technical change. John Deere selling off again. We got the lows to contend with, but really the support level is about right here at about 318.70. Looks like we're going to approach it again. I think we'll break it. And if we break it, I don't see much support until we get down to about 266.30. So again, that's a good target. That's what I'm targeting for this trade. And that's still a ways down there. That's still another 20% down there. So, we're looking at big corrections in some of these stocks. All right, here's DraftKings. This one, I might take profit in this one. Couple things. It's hanging in there relatively well. It's from the sell signal, we got the sell signal right here. So if you took it at the end of the day, you're up 8.5%. Not bad for a trade. So I might just take profit in this one. It's just it doesn't look as good as some of these others. So moving on, EMR. This one looks like it's just continuing to the downside. I talked about this on my live stream on Saturday, but also I've talked about this one for a while. So here's your March 2020 lows right there. Your uptrend line. There's your sell signal. And again, that sell signal didn't come out of the blue. It came because we had negative divergence. See the negative divergence that's been building for some while. So then you wait and you look for the sell signal. There it is. Boom. That's a nice impulsive sell signal. And then from there, they flag you out. So they try to run it up against you. And look where they ran it. Just right back to the highs, put in a new divergent high, and that's it. As soon as you have that divergent high, boom, breakdown, and that's all she wrote. So I see no indication that this selling is finished. In fact, I think it's just getting started. We got some support, a good level of support right down, there's a little support right here at 89.14, but better support right there at about 87. And yeah, so, we'll watch those levels for right now. We got supported here at 83, and we have a gap all the way down here at 72. So maybe the trade is to run all the way down and fill this gap. All right, I wouldn't be looking for much beyond that gap fill on this trade idea. So here's FITB. It's a bank, a financial stock. Again, the financials and the industrials had sell signals, weeks ago, and they just have been flagging out over the last couple of weeks. That's what sucks longs in. They think everything's done, the selling's finished, and then you gap down and they realize, oh, I'm wrong, and they start to exit. We gap below the support right here at 35.90. You can see we held support on this one for quite a while. Today we're gapping below it, so look for the daily close below that. If you get that below, then likely we're heading down to the next level of support, which is about 32.70. That's probably it for that one. I would say 32.70 is likely going to be the end. We did also just hit this former high right here, right there. You can see that's where we hit today, so I'll leave that level up there. That's possibly the low, on that one as well. So you have to kind of, that's why it's important to take profit as we run into these support levels, because you never know exactly where the low is going to be. We could be starting a bear market. Obviously I talked about that in the SPY chart. I don't see it yet, but we'll watch for it in the SPY chart. Moving on, General Motors, so gapping down below support. So this one looks like we're heading down to the next level of support, 46.83-ish. That's good support down there. So I would expect we're heading down there. And that's still another 13% or so down. So I like that one for more downside. JCI, this one's continuing the downside move. So JCI coming off the March 2020 lows, you have a clean uptrend line, bearish rising wedge here at the high. So these are divergent highs because you see the negative divergence. We started to build negative divergence up here. New high with negative divergence, new high with negative divergence, break. So there's your sell signal. And then we ran up and made another new high with negative divergence, and now we're gapping down right here today. So I'm expecting this selling to just be getting started. Don't let the little buying, in my mind, they gap it down and then they come in and buy it up. Don't let that fool you. I do think that we're heading lower. Next level of kind of major support, I see about 62.35. We have another level of support down here at 52.60. And then potential, probably a final target on this one would be about 48, right in there. I wouldn't press it too much farther than that. Okay, LPX, this one gapping down again today, down another 2%, coming into some support right here at about 49.36. So that's a good level of support. And then if we break below that, we've got really good support at 34. That's a ways down there. So that would be my final target on that one, 34. I did take a little bit of profit today as we came down into this support zone. Took a little profit. Not bad. That was a move. I was down here. It was about 14-15% of a trade from the sell signal that we got right there. But again, I still have some, and I'm looking for some more downside, although I think we might bounce here temporarily. MGM gapping down, below the support level, but they've recovered it so far. So that's about 36.70. You can see they've gapped it down, but the buyer stepped in and recovered it. So far holding support. And if we can continue to hold that, then I would expect we're probably going to bounce back up to resistance, which is about 39.70. Or potential, another target for a bounce would be gap fill right here. Just bounce up and fill the gap and then roll over. That's completely possible as well. So watch that, holding support there. Final target on this one, in my mind, is right there at 34. I think about 34, maybe slightly higher, 34.70 would probably be the final target on that one. But again, from the sell signal, if you look at, here's your sell signal. If you took it at the end of the day, that's still a move of 13% drop. And if you took it, intraday basically, which is where I grabbed it at, that's 15% or so. So not bad. Okay, Starbucks. I would say that the highs in Starbucks, at least in the near term, are in. Pretty obvious now that we're getting big breakdown. So on this one, you had a clear uptrend line off the March 2020 lows. We put in negative divergence. That was a divergent high right here. And recently, it broke trend right back here on May 12th. Backtest one and ran up, made it look like another backtest, put in a new divergent high right there, and then she's selling off. So that's likely the end of this uptrend, and we back tested, we've failed. I think we're going lower now in Starbucks. The trade idea for this one, I think we'd likely head down all the way down to here, which is going to be about 93.70. That would be the target on that one. SCHW, Charles Schwab, just making a new low today. They're kind of fighting it right in here, trying to hold that low, but I don't think it's going to hold. So I would look for the next level of kind of major support where a good bounce is likely, about 62.30. And yeah, still short that one, looking for that to continue lower. Gold, you can see gold bullion's hanging in there. So let's look at the hourly chart. Look what happened this morning. They sold it down almost to 1790. This is good support, 1790. You can see they sold it down. The buyer stepped in a little early and bought it. It got to about 1794, excuse me, 1794. And the buyer stepped in and bought it up. So we're seeing another bounce off that support zone. The miners are selling a little bit, but not too bad. In general, you can see there's some that are up. There's some that are kind of flat. There's some that are down. They're all down in general, but, still looks like they're building a base of support. Look, here's Barrett Gold. Again, we still have bullish divergence. So there it is on the RSI, and here it is on the PPO. So as I zoom in, you'll see how the momentum, now this is pointed down, so obviously my line's kind of messed up. This is pointed down, but you can see how we are trending up like that, and price is making slightly new lower lows. Now we didn't get a divergent low again today, so if it wants to sell off a little more and put another divergence, that's completely possible. So we'll watch it. I'm kind of lukewarm right now on these miners. They're holding support. They look decent. They don't look great, but they look decent. So here's one like HMY. Again, rallying off of this trend line, this is your correction in HMY. We put in bullish divergence right here, and we got a good rally. It then came back in, back tested right in here, this trend line. There's your back test. And during this time, it also started to build bullish momentum. And on the hourly, it was putting in bullish divergence right in here. So still looks good. We could sell down and hit this support again. We're kind of just basing out, it looks like we're building support. So we're not impulsive yet. We're not, lifting off, but we're not really going down too much either. So, yeah, I'm still bullish on these, but lukewarm, I would say. Okay, so pretty much all these shorts that I've talked about over the last couple of weeks, they're all working out. They're all, for the most part, double-digit profit, and that's just how it works when swing trading. You find these ideas, they don't work, they kind of grind around, and then they all just work at once, and you're double-digit profit. So that's kind of how it's working. So I'm starting to, I'm going to start looking for some other trade ideas, other setups in different sectors, looking for different, the next good trade, because these are starting to work, and we're going to start to take profit on some of these, and we'll look for the next setup. Here's Drip Oil. I want to point that one up. That's up another 8.5%. So again, this one was kind of called out as a bullish. There's your buy signal right down there. And I talked about that. You can go back and look at the video, but talked about that one. And, you had the downward trend line. You had bullish divergence right here building. There's your buy signal. And really from that buy signal, even if you took it at the end of the day, you'd be up about 37% in a matter of just, a week and a half or so. Still working. So again, now that we're above this resistance, unless they come in and sell this hard today into the close or something, 958 should be about support. And I would look for about $14 as your next level of kind of resistance. I'd be looking at, if we got up to 14, that's likely where I'd be looking to close out the trade and move on. Always the potential for more, but yeah, that's where I'd be looking for it. Okay, so that's all I got, guys. Leave me a thumbs up. And again, if you're new and you want to learn how to use the charts for technical analysis, take my course. I teach all these skills in the course. It's about 5 or 6 hours of video training. It's not free, but again, these skills can make you money and easily pay for themselves if executed properly. So it's and I price it at $99, so it's well affordable for pretty much anyone who's involved in the markets. So again, check that course out. That's available for you guys, and it's a good deal. I'll catch you guys on the next video. Leave me a thumbs up on your way out if you found value. Appreciate it. Later.